The divorce papers landed on the mahogany desk with a sound that felt like a door slamming shut forever. Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Linda's Stories. If grace carried you, like this video. If faith still lights your path, comment. I'm with Linda, and please subscribe so you never miss a story. Let's begin. Jennifer Hayes stood in the marble lobby of the Chandler Tower in downtown Manhattan, her dark hands trembling as she held the envelope. Inside were the final divorce documents from Robert Chandler, the man she'd loved for 5 years, married for 3, the man who'd built a tech empire worth hundreds of millions but couldn't build a bridge across the silence that had grown between them. The same man who had no idea that 6 weeks ago, a pregnancy test had shown 2 pink lines in the bathroom of their 5th Avenue penthouse. She'd planned to tell him that night, had rehearsed the words 1,000 times. But Robert had come home at midnight, his tie loose, his eyes cold, and said 5 words that shattered everything. I want a divorce, Jennifer. No explanation, no conversation, just lawyers, paperwork, and a settlement so generous it felt like blood money. And Jennifer, pride burning in her chest like hot coals, had signed everything without a word. If he wanted out that badly, she wouldn't beg. She wouldn't tell him about the life growing inside her. She disappeared to Austin, Texas, where her sister lived, and rebuilt a life from the wreckage. That was 18 years ago. Now Jennifer sat in the surgical waiting room of Del Seaton Medical Center in Austin, her phone clutched in her hand, staring at a name she hadn't dialed in nearly 2 decades. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The smell of antiseptic and fear hung thick in the air. Through the window, she could see the Austin skyline against a bruised purple sunset, storm clouds gathering like dark thoughts. Her son Marcus lay in ICU 3 floors up, 17 years old, honor student, track star, the kid who'd been her entire world since the moment she'd felt his first kick, and now his kidneys were failing. Shut down by a genetic disorder the doctor said was rare, unpredictable, and deadly without a transplant. You need to find his biological father, Dr. Patel had said that morning, his kind eyes full of sympathy. Given the genetic markers, a parent would be the best chance for a match. Have you contacted him? Jennifer had lied, said she'd try, but the truth was more complicated. How do you call a man who erased you from his life? How do you say, remember me, and our son is dying in the same breath? Her finger hovered over the call button. Outside, thunder rumbled. The storm was coming. She pressed dial. The phone rang once, twice. Then a voice she'd heard in dreams and nightmares for 18 years. This is Robert Chandler. Robert? Her voice cracked. It's Jennifer. Jennifer Hayes. Silence. Long enough that she thought he'd hung up. Jennifer. Not a question. A statement. Flat. Careful. I know you probably never wanted to hear from me again, but we need. The words stuck in her throat like broken glass. What's wrong? His tone shifted, became present. He'd always been able to read her, even through phone lines and 18 years of silence. Our son, the words came out in a rush. Our son, Robert. His name is Marcus. He's 17, and he's in the ICU with kidney failure. He needs a transplant. The doctors say a biological parent is the best match. You're the only chance he has. The silence stretched so long she could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. What? His voice was barely a whisper. I was 6 weeks pregnant when you asked for the divorce. I never told you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But right now, none of that matters. Marcus matters. He's on the transplant list. But it could take months. And the doctors say he doesn't have months. He has weeks, maybe days. Please, Robert, please. She heard him breathing, heard something crash in the background, heard him curse, then apologize to someone. I'm in Tokyo, business meeting. I can be on a plane in 3 hours. Send me the hospital address. Thank you, she whispered, tears streaming down her dark cheeks. Thank you. Jennifer? His voice stopped her before she could hang up. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you? Because you didn't want me, she said simply. And I had too much pride to be someone's burden. But Marcus isn't a burden. He's everything. And right now, pride doesn't matter. Only he matters. She hung up before he could respond, before she could break down completely, before she could let 18 years of buried pain come flooding out in a hospital waiting room in Austin, Texas, while her son fought for his life 3 floors above. Robert Chandler sat in the first-class cabin of a JL flight from Tokyo to Austin, staring at the photo Jennifer had texted him. A young man with bronze skin, dark curly hair, and eyes that were hauntingly familiar. His own eyes, his jawline, his smile in that crooked way that his mother had always said made him look like trouble. Marcus Daniel Hayes, 17 years old, born in Austin, Texas, honor roll student, state champion in the 800-meter run, accepted to MIT for mechanical engineering with a full scholarship that wouldn't matter if he didn't survive to accept it. Robert had read the medical file Jennifer sent 3 times. Polycystic kidney disease, both kidneys functioning at less than 15%. Dialysis keeping him alive, but barely. Without a transplant, the prognosis was measured in weeks, not months. A son. He had a son. The flight attendant offered him another whiskey. He declined. He needed to be sober, needed to think clearly, but clarity felt impossible when your entire understanding of your life had just been rewritten in a single phone call. Why had Jennifer never told him? The question circled his mind like a vulture. And beneath it, another question, darker and more honest. Would he have wanted to know? 18 years ago, Robert Chandler had been a different man. 32 years old, freshly wealthy from selling his first startup, married to a woman he'd loved but stopped seeing. Jennifer had been brilliant, beautiful, full of fire and dreams. She'd been working on her PhD in urban planning, passionate about affordable housing and community development, but his world had been mergers, acquisitions, 18-hour days, and the relentless pursuit of more. They'd grown apart like continents drifting, slow and inevitable. He'd been too proud and too ambitious to fix it. Divorce had seemed like the clean solution, the efficient choice. He'd never asked if she was okay, never checked in after, had just written a check for $2 million and told himself he'd been generous, had thrown himself into building Chandler Innovations into the tech giant it was today, worth over $800 million, with offices in 12 countries and products that powered half the internet. And all that time, in Austin, Texas, Jennifer had been raising their son alone. The plane hit turbulence. Robert's stomach lurched. He gripped the armrest and stared out at the dark Pacific Ocean below, moonlight dancing on waves that stretched to infinity. What would he say to Marcus? "Hi, I'm your father, the one who never knew you existed." What do you say to a dying son you've never met? What do you say to the woman whose life you walked away from, who built an entire human being without you? The flight attendant announced they'd be landing in Dallas-Fort Worth in 3 hours, with a connecting flight to Austin. Robert closed his eyes but didn't sleep. Couldn't sleep. Just kept seeing that photo of Marcus, smiling in a track uniform, holding a trophy, looking so alive it hurt. When he finally landed at Austin Bergstrom International at 6:47 a.m., the Texas sun was just rising, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The heat hit him the moment he stepped outside, thick and humid, so different from Manhattan's crisp autumn air. He'd arranged for a car service. The driver held a sign with his name. Del Seaton Medical Center, Robert said, sliding into the black sedan. Fast as you can. Austin had changed since he'd last been here, years ago for a tech conference. The city had exploded, gleaming towers rising between the old neighborhoods, tech companies colonizing warehouses and storefronts. But some things remained the same. The Colorado River flowing through downtown, the live oaks with their sprawling branches, the feeling of a city that was both laid back and frantically growing, caught between what it was and what it was becoming. The hospital rose ahead, a modern complex of steel and glass. Robert's hands were sweating, his heart hammered. He was 50 years old, had negotiated billion-dollar deals, had given keynote speeches to thousands, had sat across from heads of state and venture capitalists and never flinched. But walking into that hospital lobby felt like stepping off a cliff. He found the ICU on the 5th floor. The nurse at the desk looked up. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Marcus Hayes. I'm his..." The word caught. "I'm his father." She checked her tablet. "Room 517. But visiting hours don't start until..." "I flew from Tokyo. Please." Something in his voice must have reached her. She nodded. "Down the hall, take a left. But check with his mother first. She's in the family waiting room." Robert found the waiting room, and there was Jennifer. She sat by the window, silhouetted against the morning light streaming through. She'd aged, of course, but beautifully. Her dark skin still glowed. Her hair was natural now, coiled and touched with gray at the temples. She wore jeans and a University of Texas hoodie, and she looked exhausted. Completely, utterly exhausted in a way that spoke of weeks of sleepless nights and hope stretched thin as wire. She looked up. Their eyes met, and 18 years collapsed into nothing. "You came," she whispered. "Of course I came." He crossed the room, unsure what to do, settling awkwardly into the chair across from her. "How is he?" "Stable. For now. They've got him on dialysis every 6 hours. But Dr. Patel says his body's starting to reject it. The inflammation markers are rising. They're managing it with steroids, but her voice broke. She pressed her hands to her face. Robert reached across the space between them, hesitated, then placed his hand on her shoulder. She didn't pull away. I'm going to get tested today, he said. Right now, whatever he needs. Thank you. She looked up, tears streaming down her face. Robert, I'm so sorry. I should have told you from the beginning. You had a right to know. But I was so angry and so hurt and so proud. And by the time I wasn't angry anymore, so much time had passed that telling you felt impossible. And Marcus asked about you growing up, asked who his father was. And I lied. I told him you died. Told him you were a good man who died in a car accident before he was born. Robert felt like he'd been punched. You told him I was dead? I know how awful that is. But I couldn't tell him his father just didn't want us, didn't want me. I couldn't let him grow up thinking he wasn't wanted. So I invented a story where you loved us but couldn't be here, and it was a lie. But it was a lie that let him sleep at night. That let him grow up confident instead of wondering what was wrong with him that made his father leave. Robert sat back, processed that. The anger he expected didn't come. Instead, he felt the crushing weight of 18 years of absence, of a son raised with a ghost instead of a father. Can I meet him? He asked quietly. Jennifer nodded. He's sedated right now. They had to put him under last night because his pain levels were too high, but he should wake up this afternoon. Robert, what do I tell him? He thinks you're dead. How do I explain that you're suddenly alive? That I lied for 17 years? Tell him the truth, Robert said. That I'm a bastard who didn't know he existed but who's here now. Tell him I'm sorry I wasn't there for his first word, his first step, his first day of school. Tell him I'm sorry I missed 17 years of his life, but tell him I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. Jennifer's phone buzzed. She checked it. Her face went pale. What? Robert asked. Dr. Patel, Marcus's blood pressure just dropped. They're taking him to emergency surgery. They think there's internal bleeding. They ran down the corridor through double doors, following the signs to the surgical wing. Nurses moved with controlled urgency. Somewhere an alarm was beeping. Dr. Patel met them outside OR 3, already in scrubs. What happened? Jennifer demanded. His kidneys are deteriorating faster than we anticipated. One of them ruptured. We need to remove it and stabilize him. The surgery will take 3 to 4 hours. But after this, he won't survive long without a transplant. Days, maybe a week at most. Dr. Patel looked at Robert. You must be the father. We need you in testing immediately. If you're a match, we could potentially do the transplant as soon as he's stable from this surgery. Maybe 48 hours. I'm ready, Robert said. Whatever you need, this way. As they led Robert away for blood work and tissue typing, he looked back at Jennifer. She stood alone in the hallway, her arms wrapped around herself, watching the closed doors of the OR where their son was fighting for his life. A son he'd never met. A son he might lose before he ever got the chance to say hello. The testing took 3 hours. Blood draws, tissue samples, kidney function tests, medical history that Robert had never thought mattered. Any history of kidney disease in your family? The tech asked. Robert thought of his father, who died of heart failure at 65. His mother, alive and well at 78 in Florida. No kidney problems he knew of. I don't think so, he said. When it was done, they told him to wait. Results would take 6 to 8 hours for the preliminary match, maybe longer for the detailed cross-match. Robert returned to the waiting room. Jennifer was still there, joined now by a woman who looked like her but shorter, rounder, with kind eyes and braided hair. Robert, this is my sister, Denise. She's been helping me with Marcus. Denise looked at him with an expression that was hard to read. Not quite hostile, but not warm either. So you're the dead father who's suddenly alive. Denise, Jennifer warned. It's okay, Robert said. I deserve that, and worse. Denise studied him for a long moment, then sighed. He's a good kid, Marcus. Smart as hell. Funny. Stubborn. Gets that from Jennifer. He wants to be an engineer, build bridges and infrastructure for developing countries. Has this whole plan to work for nonprofits and make the world better. You missed a lot of years with a really good human being. I know, Robert said quietly, and I can't get those years back. But I can be here now, if he'll let me. The surgery ended at 2 p.m. Dr. Patel came out looking tired but satisfied. We got the damaged kidney out. He's stable, weak but stable. You can see him in about an hour when he wakes up. And the test results? Robert asked. Should have preliminary results by 6. We'll know then if we can move forward. They waited. Jennifer paced. Denise made phone calls, updating family. Robert sat and watched the clock tick forward with agonizing slowness. At 3:15, a nurse said they could see Marcus. Jennifer looked at Robert. You go first, he said. He needs to see you, needs to know you're there, and you need to prepare him. Tell him whatever you think is right. Jennifer squeezed his hand. Then she disappeared through the doors. Robert waited, watched the Austin skyline through the window, thought about all the things he'd built in his life: companies, wealth, reputation, empire, and the one thing he'd missed building: a family, a son, a connection to something that mattered more than market share and quarterly earnings. His phone buzzed, messages from his assistant in Manhattan, wondering where he was, why he'd canceled all meetings, messages from his COO about the Tokyo deal, messages from his lawyer about a contract negotiation. He turned the phone off. For the first time in 20 years, business could wait. Jennifer came out 20 minutes later. Her eyes were red. He's awake, confused, weak. I told him the truth, that you're alive, that I lied because I thought I was protecting him. He's angry, hurt, doesn't understand, but he wants to meet you. He says if you're going to give him a kidney, he should at least know who you are. Robert stood. His legs felt unsteady. What do I say to him? The truth. Just tell him the truth. Robert walked through the double doors, down a corridor that smelled of bleach and fear, to room 5-17. He pushed open the door. Marcus lay in the bed, wires and tubes connecting him to machines that beeped and hummed. He was smaller than Robert had imagined, thinner, the bones of his face sharp beneath bronze skin that looked gray with illness. But his eyes, when they opened and locked on Robert, were fierce, alert, alive. "So," Marcus said, his voice hoarse, "you're the ghost who came back from the dead." Robert approached slowly, pulled up a chair, sat down so he was at eye level with his son. "I'm your father," he said, "and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for not being there, for not knowing, for missing every single day of your life. Your mother told you I was dead because she thought it would hurt less than the truth, which is that I divorced her without knowing she was pregnant, that I was too focused on my career and my ego to notice or care, that I was leaving behind more than just a marriage. And by the time she realized you existed, I'd already erased her from my life. That's not her fault. That's mine." Marcus stared at him. "Why are you here now?" "Because your mother called and told me you needed help, and because you're my son, and because even though I've been absent for 17 years, I don't want to be absent anymore, if you'll let me. And if I'm not a match, if your kidney doesn't work, will you disappear again?" The question cut deep. Robert met his son's eyes and held them. "No, whether I'm a match or not, whether you need my kidney or not, I'm here. I'm your father and I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. That's a promise." Marcus looked away, stared at the ceiling. A single tear rolled down his cheek. "I'm scared," he whispered. Robert felt his own eyes burning. "I know, I am too. What if we don't match? What if I die without ever really knowing you? Then we make the most of whatever time we have. But you're not going to die, Marcus. You're going to fight, and I'm going to fight with you, and we're going to get through this together." Marcus looked back at him, and in that moment Robert saw himself, saw the fear and the strength and the stubborn refusal to give up, saw his son. "Okay," Marcus said softly. "Okay." They sat in silence. Outside, the sun was setting over Austin, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and reds, and in room 517 of Del Seaton Medical Center, a father and son met for the first time, with death standing in the corner and hope hanging by a thread. At 6:17 p.m., Dr. Patel knocked on the door. Robert's heart stopped. Jennifer appeared behind the doctor, her hand pressed to her mouth. Denise stood beside her, gripping her arm. Dr. Patel looked at them all, then smiled. "Mr. Chandler, you're a match. Not just a good match, a perfect match. 6 out of 6 antigens. This is as good as it gets. We can schedule the transplant for Thursday morning, assuming you both clear the additional medical evaluations. Marcus, this means we have a real shot at saving your life." The room erupted. Jennifer sobbed. Denise shouted, "Thank you, Jesus!" Marcus closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face. Robert sat frozen, unable to process the wave of relief crashing over him. "We'll need to prep you both over the next 48 hours, Dr. Patel continued. "Robert, that means more testing, surgical clearance, consultations. Marcus, we need to stabilize you further, manage your infection markers, get you as strong as possible for the surgery. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint, but we have a real chance here." After Dr. Patel left, Jennifer hugged Robert. actually hugged him for the first time in 18 years. He held her, felt her shake with relief and exhaustion, and 18 years of carrying everything alone. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for coming, for being here, for giving him a chance." "He's my son," Robert said simply. "There's nowhere else I'd be." That night, Robert got a hotel room near the hospital but couldn't sleep. Lay awake, staring at the ceiling, processing everything. Tomorrow morning, they'd start the surgical prep. Thursday, they'd wheel him into an OR and remove one of his kidneys. Give it to Marcus. Give his son life. He thought about all the years he'd missed. Birthday parties and school plays and track meets and quiet moments. Thought about how Marcus had grown up believing his father was dead, creating a mythology around a ghost. And now that ghost was flesh and blood, lying in a hotel room in Austin, terrified and determined and ready to do the only thing that mattered, save his son. His phone buzzed, a text from Jennifer. "Marcus wants to see you tomorrow morning, before the prep starts. Says he has questions. Are you okay with that?" Robert typed back, "I'll be there, whatever he needs." He finally fell asleep around 3 a.m. and dreamed of a little boy with his eyes running through a field of bluebonnets, laughing, calling, "Dad, Dad, watch me," over and over, and Robert running after him, trying to catch up, knowing he never would, but trying anyway. Wednesday morning broke clear and hot. Robert arrived at the hospital at 7 a.m., carrying coffee for Jennifer and breakfast tacos from a place Denise had recommended. He found Jennifer in Marcus's room, helping him sit up to eat. "Morning," Robert said from the doorway. Marcus looked up. He looked better than yesterday. Some color had returned to his face. The fear in his eyes had been replaced with something else. Curiosity, maybe, or determination. "Come in," Marcus said. "I've been thinking all night about what I want to know, about who you are, because in 2 days, part of you is going to be inside me, keeping me alive, and I figure I should know something about the man whose kidney I'm getting." Robert set down the coffees and tacos. "Ask me anything. Why did you divorce Mom?" Direct. No warm-up. Robert appreciated that. "Because I was an idiot, because I was 32 and thought building a company was more important than building a marriage, because I worked 100 hours a week and stopped seeing your mother as a partner and started seeing her as an inconvenience, because I was selfish and ambitious and too proud to admit when I was wrong, and because by the time I realized I was destroying the best thing in my life, it felt too late to fix it. So I did the cowardly thing. I ended it. Clean, fast, final, or so I thought." Jennifer looked uncomfortable. Marcus nodded slowly. "Mom says you're rich, like really rich." "I am. Built a tech company, sold it, built another one. It did well, very well." "What do you do?" "We develop infrastructure software, cloud architecture, data management systems, security protocols. We power a lot of the internet you use every day without knowing it. It's not glamorous, but it's lucrative. And what do you do for fun when you're not building empires?" Robert opened his mouth, closed it, realized he didn't have a good answer. "I work mostly, golf sometimes, travel for business. I have a penthouse in Manhattan with a view of Central Park that I barely see because I'm never home. I have a house in the Hamptons I visit maybe twice a year. He trailed off. "I have a lot of things, Marcus, but I don't have much of a life, not a real one. I threw myself into work after your mother left, and I never stopped, never built anything else, never remarried, never had other kids, just built the business bigger and bigger, thinking that was enough, thinking that success was the same as happiness." "Is it?" Marcus asked. "No, it's really not." Marcus took a bite of his taco, chewed thoughtfully. "What's your biggest regret, besides missing 17 years with you?" I think it's that I built all this wealth and success, but I did it alone. I convinced myself I didn't need anyone, that needing people was weakness. And now I'm 50 years old, and I'm realizing that all the money and all the success doesn't mean much when you have no one to share it with. When you've pushed away everyone who mattered because you were too busy chasing the next deal, the next milestone, the next number on a spreadsheet. "Do you have friends?" Marcus asked. "Like real friends, not business associates?" Robert thought about it. "No, not really. Acquaintances. People I golf with, people I do deals with. But friends, people who know me, no, that's sad," Marcus said simply. "It is. You're right. It's incredibly sad. And I didn't realize how sad until I got your mother's phone call and realized I'd missed out on knowing the most important person in my life. You." Marcus looked away, stared out the window at the Austin morning. "I have friends, a lot of them. There's Tyler, my best friend since 5th grade. He's coming to visit today. And Sophia, we're kind of together, I guess. It's new, and my track team, they're all blowing up my phone, sending memes and stupid videos to make me laugh. And my teachers, they sent care packages. And the neighbors, Mrs. Rodriguez brought tamales yesterday. And the church, they're doing a prayer vigil. All these people who care, who showed up. You're a lucky kid, Robert said quietly. I know. Mom made sure of that. Made sure I had community. Made sure I wasn't alone, even when she was. Marcus looked at Robert. She worked 3 jobs when I was little. Did you know that? 1 in the morning before I woke up, 1 during the day while I was at school, 1 at night after I went to bed. She put herself through a master's degree while raising me, became a city planner. Now she works for the Austin Housing Authority, developing affordable housing projects. She's changing the city, making it better, and she did all that while making sure I never felt poor, never felt like I was missing anything, never felt like I wasn't enough. She's the strongest person I know. Robert looked at Jennifer. She was crying silently, tears streaming down her face. She is, he agreed. She really is, and I'm sorry I wasn't there to help her, to make it easier, to be the partner she deserved. But you're here now, Marcus said. That's something, right? That's worth something? I hope so. I really hope so. They talked for another hour about Marcus's life, his love of running, of physics, of designing things, his dream to build infrastructure in developing countries, to use engineering to solve real problems for real people, his college plans, his hopes, his fears. I'm scared of the surgery, Marcus admitted. Scared it won't work. Scared I'll die on the table. Scared I'll wake up and still be sick. Scared of what happens after if I survive. Do I go to MIT? Do I take a gap year? Do I stay close to Mom? What if my body rejects the kidney? What if I'm on anti-rejection drugs forever and they mess me up? There's so much I don't know, so much I can't control. Robert reached out, put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. I'm scared too. Scared I'll let you down. Scared my kidney won't be enough. Scared I'll wake up from surgery and you won't. Scared of losing you before I even get to know you. But fear is just fear, Marcus. It doesn't change what we have to do. We have to fight. We have to try. And whatever happens, we face it together. You, me, and your mother, as a family. Maybe not a traditional one. Maybe not the one you imagined, but a family nonetheless. Marcus nodded, squeezed his father's hand. Okay, let's do this. The rest of Wednesday passed in a blur of medical appointments. Robert underwent EKGs, chest x-rays, more blood work, consultations with the transplant surgeon, Dr. Ramirez, a woman in her 50s with silver hair and calm confidence. The surgery will take about 4 hours for you, Dr. Ramirez explained. We'll remove your left kidney laparoscopically through small incisions in your abdomen. Recovery time is typically 6 weeks for normal activities, 12 weeks for full recovery. You'll be able to live a completely normal life with 1 kidney. It'll compensate, take on the full workload. We'll monitor you, of course, but the long-term prognosis for donors is excellent. And for Marcus, his surgery will take longer, 6 to 8 hours. We'll remove the failed kidneys and implant yours. The first 48 hours after are critical. We'll watch for rejection, infection, complications. But if all goes well, his body should accept your kidney and he should start producing urine within hours. That's the goal. Get your kidney functioning in his body. Keep him stable. Manage the anti-rejection protocol and give him his life back. What are the risks? Robert asked. Dr. Ramirez didn't sugarcoat it. For you, standard surgical risks. Bleeding, infection, blood clots. But you're healthy, so your risk is low. For Marcus, the risks are higher. Rejection is the big one. Even with a perfect match, there's a chance his immune system attacks the new kidney. We'll manage that with immunosuppressants. There's also infection risk, surgical complications, anesthesia risks. But Marcus is young, strong, and he has the best possible donor match. The odds are in his favor. Robert signed the consent forms, all of them. Every page that said he understood the risks, that he was donating willingly, that he accepted the potential complications, and he didn't hesitate. Because what was risk compared to his son's life? What was fear compared to the chance to give Marcus a future? That evening, Robert sat with Jennifer in the hospital cafeteria. They'd barely spoken all day, both consumed by preparation and testing. Now, over lukewarm coffee and sandwiches, neither of them ate. They finally had a moment. I can't believe this is happening, Jennifer said. 24 hours ago, I didn't know if Marcus would survive the week. Now we have a surgery scheduled, a real chance. It feels like a miracle. It feels like something, Robert agreed. I keep thinking about what might have happened if you hadn't called me. If you decided to just put him on the transplant list and wait, how long would he have lasted? Dr. Patel said maybe a week, 2 at most. The list average for a kidney is 3 to 5 years. He would have died waiting. Jennifer's voice broke. I would have lost him, my baby, the only good thing I've ever done in my life. He's not the only good thing, Robert said. Jennifer, look at what you've built. Your career, your community, the way you raised him. You did that. You created this incredible human being who wants to change the world. That's not nothing, that's everything. I did it without you, she said, not accusingly, just stating fact. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If I could go back, if I could redo that day I asked for the divorce, I would do everything differently. I would listen. I would try. I would stay. Would you though? Jennifer looked at him. Really? Or would we have just delayed the inevitable? You wanted different things, Robert. You wanted to build an empire. I wanted to build a life. Those aren't compatible goals. Maybe not back then, but maybe now. He trailed off. Now what? Now you're having a moment of clarity because your son is dying. Now you're realizing that money isn't everything because you're faced with something money can't fix. That's not personal growth, Robert. That's just reality hitting you in the face. Her words stung because they were true. You're right, he admitted. You're absolutely right. This isn't some grand revelation where I suddenly become a better person. This is just me finally waking up to what matters. And maybe it took something this terrible to wake me up. And maybe that says something awful about me as a human being. But I'm awake now, Jennifer. And I'm here. And I want to be part of Marcus's life. Part of your life, if you'll let me. Not as a husband or a lover or anything like that. Just as, I don't know, a partner, a co-parent, someone who's here. Jennifer sipped her coffee, studied him. What does that look like, Robert? You live in Manhattan. We live in Austin. You run a company worth hundreds of millions. I work for the city. Our lives are completely different. How do you envision this working? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. Maybe I spend more time in Austin. Maybe I open an office here. Maybe I step back from the company. Let my COO run things more. Maybe I learn to work remotely. I don't have the answers, but I want to try. Don't you think Marcus deserves to have his father in his life? Yes, Jennifer said softly. He does, but only if you're going to be consistent. Only if you're not going to blow into town once a month, disrupt everything, and then disappear again. He's been through enough. I won't let you break his heart. I won't, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. I'm not. Robert reached across the table, took her hand. Jennifer, I've spent 18 years building a company, building wealth, building a reputation, and I'm good at it. I'm really good at building things. So let me build this. Let me build a relationship with our son. Let me prove that I can be the father he deserves. Give me that chance. She didn't pull her hand away. Okay, she said finally. Okay, but if you hurt him, if you let him down, I will never forgive you. Understand? I understand. They sat like that for a long moment, hands clasped across a cafeteria table in Austin, Texas, while their son slept upstairs and tomorrow waited like a held breath. Thursday morning arrived too fast and too slow. Robert woke at 4 a.m. in his hotel room, couldn't go back to sleep, so he showered and dressed and drove to the hospital in the dark. The surgery was scheduled for 7 a.m. They needed to prep both him and Marcus starting at 5:30. The pre-op area was a maze of curtained bays, beeping monitors, and nurses moving with quiet efficiency. Robert changed into a hospital gown, answered more questions, got an IV started. In the next bay, he could hear Marcus's voice, young and scared, and Jennifer's soothing responses. Dr. Ramirez came by to check on him. How are you feeling? Terrified, determined, ready. She smiled. That's a good combination. We'll take good care of you both. Any last questions? Just one. After this, after the surgery, how long until we know if it worked? We'll know pretty quickly if the kidney is functioning. Marcus should start producing urine within hours of the transplant. That's the first sign. Then we watch for rejection over the next few days and weeks. But the first 24 hours are critical. If we get through those without complications, the odds jump significantly in our favor. Robert nodded. Dr. Ramirez squeezed his shoulder. You're doing a brave thing. Giving your son life. That's what being a parent is about. At 6:45, they wheeled Robert toward the OR. As they passed Marcus's bay, Robert called out, "Hey, Marcus!" The curtain pulled back. Marcus looked small and young in his hospital gown, his dark hair covered with a surgical cap, but his eyes were bright, focused. See you on the other side, Dad, Marcus said. Dad. The word hit Robert like a physical thing. He smiled, felt tears prickling. See you on the other side, son. They wheeled him into OR3. The lights were blinding. The team moved around him, checking monitors, preparing instruments. The anesthesiologist, a kind-faced man named Dr. Chen, appeared above him. Okay, Robert, I'm going to give you something to help you relax, and then we'll put you under. When you wake up, it'll all be over and you'll be one kidney down but one son up. Fair trade? Fair trade, Robert agreed. Count backward from 10 for me. 10, 9, 8, 7. The world went dark. Robert woke in recovery. His abdomen hurt. The pain was sharp, insistent, radiating through his left side. He groaned. Mr. Chandler, can you hear me? A nurse materialized, young guy with a kind smile. You're in recovery. Surgery went perfectly. Your kidney is out, and it's already in Marcus. Dr. Ramirez will be by soon to update you. Marcus, Robert croaked. How's Marcus? Still in surgery. They're closing him up now. Another hour or so. But so far, so good. The kidney started producing urine immediately. That's the best sign we could ask for. Relief flooded through him, stronger than the pain. Thank you, thank you. They moved him to a room an hour later. Jennifer was there, waiting. She looked exhausted, wired, hopeful, and terrified all at once. He's still in surgery, she said, before Robert could ask. But they're saying it's going well. The kidney is working. It's actually working, Robert. Your kidney is keeping our son alive. Robert tried to sit up. Pain exploded through his abdomen. He gasped. Don't, Jennifer said, pushing him gently back. You just had major surgery. You need to rest. I need to see him. As soon as he's out, I need to see him. You will, I promise. But right now you need to let your body heal. They waited together. Hours that felt like years. Dr. Ramirez finally appeared at 1:30 p.m., still in surgical scrubs, looking tired but pleased. The transplant was a success. Marcus is in ICU. The kidney is functioning beautifully. Urine output is strong. Vital signs are stable. The next 48 hours are critical for watching for rejection. But right now, everything looks good. Really good, Jennifer sobbed. Robert felt tears streaming down his own face. Can we see him? Give it a few hours. Let him wake up from anesthesia. Let the ICU team get him stabilized. But yes, you can see him. Both of you. At 5 p.m., they wheeled Robert to the ICU. He was in a wheelchair, an IV pole attached, still in significant pain despite the medication, but nothing could have kept him from this moment. Marcus's ICU room was a controlled chaos of monitors and tubes and medical equipment. But there, in the center of it all, was Marcus, pale, bruised, but breathing, alive. His eyes fluttered open when they entered, focused on Robert, on Jennifer. Hey, Marcus whispered. His voice was raw from intubation, but it was there. He was there. Hey yourself, Robert said, wheeling as close as the nurses would allow. How are you feeling? Like someone cut me open and rearranged my insides. But also, better? The pain in my back is gone. The pressure, it's gone. That's your dad's kidney working, Jennifer said, taking Marcus's hand. That's it filtering your blood, doing its job. Marcus looked at Robert, really looked at him. You gave me your kidney. Of course I did. You're my son. I'm your son, Marcus repeated as if testing the words. And you're my dad, my actual, alive, real dad. I am, for the rest of your life. I'm your dad, and I'm not going anywhere. Marcus smiled. It was weak, tired, but genuine. Good, because I have like 17 years of Father's Days to catch up on. You're going to be so sick of me. Robert laughed, even though it hurt his incision. Never. I could never be sick of you. They stayed like that, the three of them, until the nurses gently kicked them out. Robert returned to his room. Jennifer went to the cafeteria to eat something, and Marcus slept, his body beginning the long process of healing, of accepting the gift his father had given him. Over the next 48 hours, Robert watched the clock obsessively, watched for signs of rejection, listened to every update from Dr. Patel and Dr. Ramirez. Marcus's creatinine levels were dropping. His urine output was strong. His body was accepting the kidney. No signs of rejection, no infection, no complications. By Saturday morning, they moved Marcus out of ICU into a regular room. By Sunday, they had Robert walking the halls, building strength, managing pain with less medication. By Monday, both of them were eating real food, complaining about hospital food, making jokes. This is the worst vacation I've ever been on, Marcus said, picking at his lunch tray. 0 stars. Would not recommend. Robert, visiting from his own room in a wheelchair, laughed. The accommodations are terrible. The food is worse, but the company is pretty good. Yeah, Marcus agreed, smiling. The company's not bad. Jennifer sat between them, looking from one to the other, and started crying. Mom, what's wrong? Marcus asked, alarmed. Nothing. Nothing's wrong. For the first time in weeks, nothing is wrong. You're getting better. The kidney is working. You're both healing. And I can't believe we made it here. Can't believe we're all here together. It feels like a miracle. It is a miracle, Robert said quietly. But it's also love. That's what this is, Jennifer. It's love. You loving Marcus enough to swallow your pride and call me. Me loving him enough to drop everything and come. Him being brave enough to accept both of us, imperfect as we are. That's the real miracle, not the medicine, the love. They discharged Robert on Tuesday. He moved into a hotel suite near the hospital so he could visit Marcus every day. The doctors wanted to keep Marcus another week for monitoring, making sure the anti-rejection drugs were properly calibrated, watching for any signs of complications. Robert spent his mornings in therapy, rebuilding core strength, spent his afternoons with Marcus, teaching him chess, talking about physics and philosophy and life, spent his evenings with Jennifer, planning for Marcus's discharge, figuring out what recovery at home would look like. He'll need to be careful for a few months, Dr. Patel explained. No contact sports, no heavy lifting, regular checkups, daily medications, but after 6 months, he should be cleared for normal activity, back to running. Back to his life. And MIT, Marcus asked, can I still go in the fall? Let's see how recovery goes. But potentially, yes. If everything heals well, if the kidney stays stable, there's no reason you can't start college on schedule. You'll just need to be connected with a nephrologist there, maintain your medication schedule, be careful about infections. But you can absolutely have a normal college experience. Marcus's face lit up. I can still go. I can still do everything I planned. You can do more than what you planned, Robert said. You can do anything you want. The whole world is ahead of you now. On Wednesday, 1 week post-transplant, Dr. Ramirez gave Marcus the news they'd all been waiting for. He could go home. Your numbers are excellent. The kidney is functioning at near normal levels. No signs of rejection. You're healing beautifully. I want you back in a week for follow-up, then 2 weeks after that, then monthly. But you're cleared for discharge. They released him Thursday morning. Jennifer pulled her car around to the hospital entrance. Robert, now walking without assistance, though still sore, helped Marcus into the passenger seat. Denise was in the back, carrying bags of medications and discharge instructions. As they drove through Austin, Marcus stared out the window like he was seeing the city for the first time. The live oaks lining the streets, the Colorado River sparkling in the sunlight. The University of Texas Tower rising above campus, the food trucks and coffee shops and murals that made Austin uniquely itself. I didn't think I'd see this again, Marcus said quietly. When they told me I was dying, I looked at everything differently, like I was saying goodbye. And now I get to stay. I get to be here. I get to live. You get to live, Robert repeated, and I get to watch you live. That's my gift, Marcus. Getting to know you, getting to be part of your story. They arrived at Jennifer's house, a modest ranch-style home in South Austin, with a yard full of wildflowers and a porch with rocking chairs. Neighbors had tied balloons to the mailbox, hung a "Welcome Home Marcus" banner across the front door. Inside, the house was warm, lived in, full of photos of Marcus growing up, baby pictures, school photos, track medals hanging on the wall, college acceptance letters pinned to the fridge. A whole life that Robert had missed, documented in frames and ribbons and memories. Jennifer helped Marcus to the couch. Denise disappeared into the kitchen to make tea, and Robert stood in the living room looking at 17 years of his son's life displayed on the walls and felt the weight of his absence. I missed so much, he said. Jennifer came to stand beside him. You did, but you're here now, and that matters. Maybe it doesn't erase the past, but it changes the future for all of us. I want to be part of that future, part of his life, part of yours, as much as you'll let me. I know I can't just move to Austin permanently, not immediately, but I can be here more, a lot more. I've already talked to my COO about transitioning to a remote work model, setting up an Austin office, spending at least half my time here. I want to see Marcus graduate high school, help him move into his dorm at MIT, be there for birthdays and holidays and random Tuesdays. I want to be his father, not just the guy who gave him a kidney, but the guy who shows up consistently, permanently, for the rest of his life. That's a big commitment, Jennifer said. Are you sure you're ready for that? I'm 50 years old. I've built everything I set out to build professionally, made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, achieved every goal I thought mattered, and none of it means anything compared to being here in this living room with my son healing on the couch. So yes, I'm ready, more than ready. I'm committed to him, to being the father I should have been from the start. Jennifer smiled. Okay then, let's figure it out together. Over the next few weeks, they fell into a rhythm. Robert rented a furnished apartment in South Austin, 10 minutes from Jennifer's house. He set up a home office, started working remotely, flew back to New York only when absolutely necessary for board meetings and major negotiations. He showed up at Jennifer's house every morning, made breakfast with Marcus, drove him to follow-up appointments, helped with physical therapy exercises, taught him about business and finance and negotiation, learned about physics and engineering from his brilliant son, who explained complex concepts with patience and enthusiasm. He had dinner with Marcus and Jennifer most nights. Sometimes Denise joined them, and her husband Carl, and their kids, Marcus's cousins, who welcomed their uncle with open arms and dozens of questions about New York and technology and what it was like to be rich. He met Marcus's friends, Tyler, the best friend, who shook Robert's hand and said, "Thanks for saving him, Mr. Chandler. We kind of need him around." Sophia, the girlfriend, a brilliant girl with dreams of being a neurosurgeon, who held Marcus's hand and looked at him like he'd hung the moon. He attended Marcus's graduation from high school in late May, sat with Jennifer in the audience, watching their son walk across the stage in cap and gown, healthy and whole and alive. Robert cried, didn't care who saw. This was his son, his incredible, resilient, brilliant son, and he got to be here for this moment. After graduation, Marcus gave a speech at the family dinner Denise hosted, raised his glass of sparkling cider and said, "I want to thank everyone who got me here. Mom, who never gave up, never stopped fighting for me, who worked 3 jobs and put herself through grad school and raised me to be the person I am. Aunt Denise and Uncle Carl and the cousins, who were there through everything. My friends, who kept me laughing even when I felt like giving up. Dr. Patel and Dr. Ramirez and all the medical team who saved my life. And Dad." The words still sent a thrill through Robert every time. Dad, who I didn't know existed 6 weeks ago, who flew across the world when Mom called, who gave me his kidney without hesitation, who's been showing up every single day since, learning how to be my father, learning who I am, letting me learn who he is. You could have given me the kidney and disappeared, but you didn't. You stayed, and that means everything. So thank you. Thank you for giving me life twice. Once when I was conceived, even though you didn't know it, and once in that operating room. I love you, Dad. Robert couldn't speak, just stood and hugged his son, held him tight, and whispered, "I love you too, so much, more than I knew it was possible to love anyone." In July, they drove Marcus to Boston, helped him move into his dorm at MIT. Robert used his connections to make sure Marcus had everything he needed, including a connection with the best nephrologist in Boston, a state-of-the-art meal plan that accommodated his dietary restrictions, and a network of support. "Don't helicopter parent him," Jennifer warned. "He needs to learn independence." "I know, but I can smooth the path a little, make sure he's set up for success." They left Marcus in his dorm room, surrounded by boxes and excitement and new roommates. As they walked back to the car, Jennifer reached for Robert's hand. "We did good," she said. "Look at him. Look at what he's becoming. We made that. You and me. We made him." "You made him," Robert corrected. "I'm just learning how to be part of his story. But yeah, we did good. Against all odds, we did really, really good." They drove back to Austin together, talking about the future, about how they'd co-parent long distance, about holidays and visits and the rhythm of Marcus's college life, about what it meant to be a family, redefined and reimagined, built on second chances and hard-won grace. "What about us?" Robert asked, as they crossed into Texas, the flat landscape stretching to the horizon. "What are we to each other, Jennifer? Ex-spouses, co-parents, friends?" Jennifer was quiet for a long time. "I think we're people who hurt each other a long time ago, who made mistakes, who lost something precious and found it again in the most unexpected way. I think we're Marcus's parents, and maybe that's enough for now. Maybe that's all we need to be. And if I wanted more, if I wanted to see if we could build something again, not what we had, but something new, something better, would you be open to that?" "Robert," she sighed, "I don't know. 18 years is a long time. We're different people, and I'm not the woman you married. I won't give up my career or my life to fit into yours. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking if you'd be willing to see if there's a future where we build something together, where it's not about you sacrificing or me sacrificing, but about us creating something new, something equal, something real. I need time to think about that. Need to see if you're really committed to being here, to being present, not just for Marcus, but for yourself, for us. Can you give me time? All the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. They pulled into Austin as the sun set, painting the sky in brilliant pinks and oranges. Robert dropped Jennifer at her house, then drove to his apartment. But he didn't feel like going inside. Instead, he drove to Zilker Park, parked, and walked to the edge of Barton Creek. He stood there as the sky darkened, listening to the water, thinking about everything that had changed in 6 weeks. How a phone call from a woman he hadn't spoken to in 18 years had cracked open his entire life. How a son he never knew existed had given him purpose beyond profit margins and stock prices. How facing death had taught him what it meant to truly live. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Hey Dad, made some friends. Going to orientation tomorrow. Kidney feels good. Just wanted to say hi and thanks again for everything. Robert typed back. So proud of you. Call anytime. Love you, son. He stared at those words. Love you, son. Words he never thought he'd say. Words that meant more than any deal he'd ever closed or any fortune he'd ever made. He thought about the future, about MIT parents' weekends and Thanksgiving dinners and graduation in 4 years, about watching Marcus become the man he was meant to be, about building a relationship with Jennifer, whatever that looked like, about learning to be present instead of productive, to be connected instead of successful, about the scar on his abdomen where a kidney used to be, and the son who carried that kidney, living and breathing and thriving, about the miracle of second chances, about how sometimes losing yourself is the only way to find what really matters. Robert Chandler had built an empire, but standing by Barton Creek in Austin, Texas, as stars began to appear in the darkening sky, he realized he'd just begun building the only thing that truly mattered, a family. And for the first time in his 50 years, he was exactly where he was supposed to be.